the way I see race is the same way that I see bodies, the same way that I see like a physical body, at least when I look at myself, and I think that translates when I deal with other people as well. So we all care about how we look to a certain extent. We all go out of our way to dress a certain way, to express ourselves a certain way, so on and so forth. But when it comes down to it, for me, I don't really think, I mean, yes, this body matters since it carries us to different places. It enables us to do certain things. I mean, I wouldn't be able to play music, I wouldn't be able to draw, I wouldn't be able to sing or any of that stuff if I didn't have a physical body. So in that sense, yes, it's obviously valuable and important. And so it's important to stay healthy because we are still in the physical realm. And it's very real. At least the way we're living our life, it's real to us, it's tangible. But the way I see it is that this is a vessel. It's something that carries us. And for me, at least, my true form is my essence, my energy. Just like everyone is, just like plants, just like trees, just like animals, cats, dogs, birds, snakes. All living beings, and they have a physical form that translates into our reality. This is how I see it. The reason I look how I look, the reason my eyes are the way they are, the reason my nose looks the way it is, the reason my mouth, my ears, my hair, my skin, these are all things that my ancestors had passed on to me through generations and generations. I look like my parents, they look like their parents look like their parents, and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, the way I see it is that we are an essence, an energy form, energy beings. We're living beings beyond our body. And that's the way that I see race. And if I didn't see it that way, I would never discover metal music. I would never discover spirituality the way that I look at it. I wouldn't be, if I allowed myself to stay within a box of what society expects me to be, I wouldn't be as curious as I am about certain things. I probably wouldn't I wouldn't allow myself to hang out with certain people, to be curious about certain people. And so I always force myself to be the least judgmental that I can, because of course we all have judgments about people, and they have judgments about us. But at the end of the day, that's how I see it. And that's probably why I don't take that many selfies on my Instagram page. I just don't think it's important to post so many selfies of myself. And I'm not knocking anyone who does that, if that's what you want to do. If you're in good shape or whatever, and that's what you want to do, like whatever, it's a choice, it's a personal choice. But I've always mostly wanted people to see like my essence in a way, my interest, and things like that. So that's how I see the physical body, and that's pretty much how I see race as well. I think we should protest, it makes sense. The weird thing about that though is that we were being so encouraged to hide in our houses and be afraid of this COVID-19 thing. But yeah, it was weird. They were telling us to hide in our houses, to be afraid, and to basically hide from this monster, and yet we were being encouraged to hide and yet encouraged to protest. So which is it? Should we just hide in our houses while people are just getting fired basically because of this virus? Bicycle paths are being locked off, malls are being closed, businesses are being closed because of a virus, when by the way, viruses exist and they've always existed. So I found that weird, especially since when you go to supermarkets, stores, whatever you want to call it, there are literally directions, stickers on the floor telling us where to walk, how to walk, which direction to take when we're in a store. Next thing you know, they're going to be telling us how to breathe. So I just found that a really weird dichotomy. I found that really strange. I mean, they're kind of encouraging people to kind of go in all directions. And that's the sort of irrational part that bothers me. It doesn't really make sense. And I don't see how the things that we're implementing in stores are going to protect us from this COVID-19 virus. It doesn't make sense. people are talking about COVID-19, but at the same time talking about the protests. It's just weird. I find that weird for me. Weird in a bad way, not a good way. So what do I mean when I say it's beyond race? What I mean by that is literally the reason why we look the way we do is because of the decisions that our ancestors made in the past, where they decided to migrate, where they decided to live, how they lived their life. This is all impacting our features, our eyes, our eye color, our skin complexion, hair texture, etc. That's what this so-called race is. So for me, even though I understand, okay, to a certain extent, where my ancestors come from and came from, the majority of them, I mean, I have a pretty good idea where my ancestors are from. Even though I can respect this in a way, it's not going to impact the person that I am today. Okay, and I see a lot of people being impacted by that and deciding that because they're a certain race, it's gonna stop them from going a certain direction in life, when it really shouldn't, in my opinion. If we start to put ourselves in these boxes, and I hope that after 2020, I hope that people can more and more start to let themselves be released from the boxes that they're in. And I'm pretty sure that I'm in certain boxes as well. I try as much as I can, and sometimes it's not always a conscious decision, to unleash myself from that box and not allow race, gender, etc. to dictate how I'm going to live my life, the decisions I'm going to make, the kind of music I'm going to listen to, the things I post, the things I talk about. Race is just one aspect of who we are. We are more than just race. I think if we live that way, it would probably help things a bit more. But the fact that people cared about this, to me, I mean, it made an impact on me personally, seeing the fact that people really care about this. And it changed my perception of people a little bit in a positive way. As tragic and as sad as what happened is, the way people responded to it, and I'm not talking about the looting and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about the unity that I saw, the fact that people wanted to make a difference. That made a difference on my perspective of people for the most part. A lot of things have already been said, and I wanted to talk about race before this anyways, and I think it's a good time to talk about what I actually think about race. And I feel the same way about gender, basically. The reason why we have gender in the first place, I see it as a very, might seem like really cold and scientific, but I just see gender as something that we have in order to have offspring. So I don't really see it as something that dictates my life either. Yeah, I'm not really impacted by the whole gender thing personally, on a personal level. I don't know, I don't really care about gender or race or any of that. I still recognize what I am biologically and how people recognize me and how they view me. And I understand that there are certain stereotypes that come with how I look and how people perceive me, their perception of me. But personally, the way, when I look at myself in the mirror, when I live my life, I just don't care about race or gender or any of that stuff. But I am at the core of this. It's not my entirety. It's not me. It's just what the world perceives me as. And I'm now recording. This is what the box looks like. As you can see. Looks like that. This is a labradorite stone. Okay, my headphones are not in though. This is a labradorite stone. It's Canadian. It's pretty.